Hello class, and welcome once again to our financial accounting class for spring 2018 at Grossmont College. Business 120, section 6445. By now, hopefully you have viewed the class orientation video as part of your first week's requirements, and you probably heard in there and saw through my first message to you that the next thing to do is to view the syllabus orientation video, which is going to go over in great detail the syllabus for the class. So by now you already know how, through the orientation video and a little bit of practice, how to navigate Canvas and know where everything is located, including the syllabus. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and review the syllabus for the course. So you can click on Syllabus, as you learned earlier. The syllabus page has a list of the grading requirements for the course that'll get populated as you complete requirements during the semester. And then of course you have the PDF link for the syllabus. So I'm going to click on that because that's what we will be working from. I'm going to open it with Adobe Acrobat. And this is what you'll have. You can print it, save it, do whatever you'd like in terms of how best you're going to work with the syllabus, or just have it. Just log in rather to Canvas and view it when you need to. But as you learned in the class orientation video, as long as you log into Canvas each week, you view my messages that you get by email and that are posted to Canvas, the announcements, emails, posts to discussion boards, you'll be fine. But the syllabus is the agreement between you and I on how you are going to proceed to be successful in the class. I'm prescribing what needs to be done. All you have to do. Simple task, right? Follow through. So let's take a look at the syllabus. I'm going to go through page by page, some more detail than others. Obviously, it's Grossmont College, spring 2018. Business 120, Financial Accounting. Here's some details about the course. There's me. I'm your instructor, Al Tacone. You met me in our class orientation video. There's our section number, 6445 for spring 18. We meet online. There are no prerequisites for this class. The class is not taught. I'm from Boston, so that might have been the way we say it back east, but taught, assuming you know nothing at all about accounting. It's 4 units of lecture, and the transfer credit is to the CSU and UC. Prep for major usually for any of the business degrees and accounting degrees in the CSUs and the UCs. And of course you might be seeking transfer credit at other institutions as well, but those are the ones, obviously since we're in California, that are transfer for community colleges. My email address is there. It's a link to it right on this page. Or just have it handy and email me directly from your email account or through Canvas, as you learned through that orientation video. It's an online class, so we may have offices, or my office rather I should say is virtual, by phone or online, by appointment. I mean, if you communicate with me by email or by phone, I'll certainly set up a time where we can chat by telephone. Go back and forth as you're on your computer and I'm on telephone with you. So make sure you do contact me in advance, however, because I may not be in my office. I might be in meetings, might be doing something else during the course of a day. But as you learned in the class orientation video, I respond to emails in well under 24 hours. Certainly no more than 24 hours. All right, as you know by now, you must have access to Canvas. That's the course management system where I will deliver our class and you will learn from. How do you get there? You go to the Grossmont College webpage. Click on Canvas. Again, I have the links directly here if you want to. Click on Canvas and then select our course. As you learned again in the class orientation video, 2018 Spring, Business 120, and that's the section number 6445. You also learned that you're going to need, in the class orientation video, you need access to Connect LearnSmart by McGraw-Hill. Here's the direct link, and as you learned again in that video, there's a link in every module directly to Connect Learn Smart so that you can get to your graded requirements each week. And that's basically what I say here. They're all included in, all the links are included in the chapter modules. Once you log in, you see those week's requirements. All right, so we're not going to do that in a lot of detail because you learned about that in the class orientation video. That's just showing that you have to have access. All right, here's a description of the course. This is an introduction to accounting, financial accounting. So you'll learn and master the accounting function and how it's used within our economic society. Again, this is an introductory course, so I assume that you know nothing about the course. We will cover the accounting information system, recording and reporting of business transactions with the focus on the accounting cycle. You'll learn about that very early on in the course and the steps and process by which we work through an accounting cycle using what we call generally accepted accounting principles. Again, we'll study those. You'll learn about what those are very early on in the course, and then you'll learn different principles as the course progresses. And financial statements, along with analyzing those financial statements, will be a big part of what we do. Then further, we dissect the parts of the financial statements, and you learn individual relationships between assets, liabilities, and equity and how they're accounted for. Revenue and expenses, as you learn, are part of the income statement. Cash flow towards the end of the course, and towards the middle of the course, internal control and ethics. But again, those are all throughout the course, included throughout the course. In financial accounting, as will be true for the most part in managerial accounting, it's very critical to master material before moving on to the next level of material, or the next chapter in our case. It builds. It's like learning a skill or a foreign language. What you learn in the current week or the current chapter is essential to mastering future coursework and material and chapters. So please keep that in mind, and that's why in the class orientation video I stressed making sure that you build your coursework and your requirements, not only for this class but all of them, with everything that's going on in your life, so that you do not procrastinate and you find yourself late in the week not having completing your work. That will make it extremely difficult for you to be successful and extremely difficult to master accounting. The course's student learning outcomes relate to your ability to generate and understand what financial statements are, from how they originate and where they originate, and what information they provide about business entities, strengths, and weaknesses. That's what financial accounting is all about. You'll learn about that and master it in great detail in Chapter 1. That's where we start. And then all throughout the course, what you learn in Chapter 1 or what you study in Chapter 1 as an introduction is all about mastering what you see here in the student learning outcomes. And everything that you're graded on during the semester is letting me know whether or not you have successfully achieved those student learning outcomes. All right, let's move on with the required text and materials. Again, the textbook, you learned a little bit about that in the class orientation video. It's the 6th edition of Financial Accounting Fundamentals. If you want to purchase it at the Grossmont College bookstore, it is in a shrink-wrapped bundle, 3-hole punched. If you buy it at the Grossmont College bookstore, you will get the Connect Learn Smart access code for our class. It'll be shrink-wrapped with the bundle. If you prefer not to do that, you may go directly to the links that I showed you in Canvas and that are included on page 7 of the syllabus, and you can purchase the Connect Learn Smart access code there, which also comes with the e-textbook, so you don't have to have a hard copy of the textbook. And again, that direct link is here as well. So it's up to you. If you want to purchase a hard copy of the textbook, you can through, again, it's shrink-wrapped, 3-hole punch to keep the cost down with the access code, or go directly to McGraw-Hill Connect Learn Smart, which again I showed you the link and how to do that in the class orientation video, or directly from this link. Go ahead and register for Connect Learn Smart and you will get an e-copy of the textbook along with your purchase. It doesn't matter to me whether you have a hard copy of the book or not, and if you want to buy just the access code from McGraw-Hill, and then buy an older version of the textbook or one you buy on Amazon.com or some other supplier, that is okay with me. What you do need, though, is the access code to register for Connect Learn Smart. That you must have, because that's the basis for how you'll be graded through this course. And the instructions are on page 7 of the syllabus, which we'll get to shortly. So those are your required text and materials for this online class. Other things that you'll need, obviously, a computer with internet and email access. Again, you learned how to navigate that in the class orientation video. Your access to Canvas. I just showed you how to get to Canvas, but if you're viewing this video, chances are you were already successful at doing that. Here's how to get there. Again, the login or registration information and the course link. Again, that was covered in the class orientation video, but that's the required access. Now we get to the meat of how you're going to be graded in the class and what's required. Here is the weekly coursework and instructor contact for this class. As I mentioned in the class orientation video, you should be spending a minimum of 8 hours per week on average, or 128 total hours for the semester. Each week begins at 12 a.m. and ends on Saturdays at 11 p.m., starting with this Monday, January 29th. You'll find that everything is available to you now, so you don't have to wait till Monday, January 29th. As you saw in my welcome message to you, my welcome announcement, it is available now, so you can go ahead and get started. And you also saw that in the class orientation video. But 11 p.m. each Saturday is the deadline, so that stays consistent. Now we're going to walk through what you should be doing each week. Again, what's graded will be highlighted in yellow. How to do this work was covered in the class orientation video. So let's take a look. You should always read the chapters. I estimate that at an hour. Some people take more or less for each of these, but let's say that's an hour a week. 13 chapters, that's 13 hours over the semester. The video lectures, which you saw in the class orientation video, those are about an hour each, but I cheat a little bit. Usually they're more than that, but they're an hour to an hour and 15 minutes per chapter, but I average it out to about 13 hours over the semester. It's actually probably more like 16 or so hours. The video lectures are meant to assist you with mastering concepts, applications, and procedures, and cover all that you are expected to master for each of those chapters. And you also learned in that orientation video that there is an accompanying PDF version of all of my lecture notes that are used in the weekly and chapter-by-chapter lecture videos. That's all part of that 1 hour per week, and I showed you how to navigate that. Then, each week, as you, again, I hate to keep saying this, but it's all referred to in the class orientation video, you're going to log into Connect Learn Smart through the link in Canvas or the link that you see here and throughout the syllabus. Again, I showed you how to do that in the class orientation video. You're going to log in and you're going to complete your weekly requirements. You're going to do practice each week, practice exercise and problems. Those are on your own, not graded. You're just doing those for practice to master the material, and they're based upon what you see and hear in the lecture videos and in the PDF version of my PowerPoints. You'll also, in Connect Learn Smart, you'll see that I have posted, again I showed you that in the, again I'm saying it, the class orientation video, need to know videos. They're about an hour per chapter. Those are also not graded. Those are there for you to go through and help you to master the material each week. They're really just examples or sample problems and exercises of what's covered each chapter. Again, that's in Connect Learn Smart. These 4 bullet points, again, I covered in, yes, the class orientation video. Each week you'll have interactive presentations, Learn Smart assignments, homework, and quizzes. Now, I'm giving very low estimates on these because you do not have time limits. on completing the interactive presentations, the Learn Smart assignments, or the homework. You can take as long as you want to complete those, and I give you multiple attempts to complete those. So I'm saying a minimum of 1 hour, and for homework 2.5 to 3 hours, but you could take 2 hours, 6 hours. It really doesn't matter. These are very low and bare minimum estimates. You can take as long as you like on each. Especially since you have multiple attempts, you'll be able to go back and correct mistakes and resubmit. Quizzes, again, very low estimate. Should take you about a half hour each to complete, and there are 13 of them, but there's no time limit to complete the quizzes. The only rule with the quizzes is, however, that you only have one attempt. I do not let you go back and make second attempts on the quiz questions. So although you have an unlimited time to complete the quiz, you must submit the quiz in one sitting. You cannot save and go back, and you will not have multiple attempts on quizzes. So keep that in mind. Interactive presentations, Learn Smart, and homework you do. That's why I'm saying these estimates are probably low, because if you really want to master the material and get good grades and earn a maximum amount of points, you'll probably take longer. Quiz you can also take as long as you want, you just can't redo them. Okay, and you can't save quizzes and go back. Interactive presentations, Learn Smart, and homework you can save and go back at any time. And you'll always see your scores in Connect Learn Smart right away. The quiz scores you'll see after you submit. And then after the due date passes, you can go back and look at your quiz and see the solutions to the quiz. So as soon as you submit your quiz, you'll see your scores. And then after the due date passes, you can actually see the solutions to the quiz questions. For the interactive presentations, Learn Smart, and homework, you'll always be able to see the solutions after you submit. One thing to keep in mind is I prepare all of the assignments in Connect to be what we call algorithmic, so everyone in the class will have different solutions. So when you ask me questions, or if you post a question to the discussion board, I will be responding to your particular question in a way that will help all students in the class master the material, because everyone in the class will have different answers. Same thing with exams. Just not that you're not trusted, but just as a way to keep everybody doing their own work and making sure that you're learning from your work rather than just seeing what someone else is doing or what I post as solutions. All right, exams. There are 4 of them throughout the semester. They should take you about 3 hours apiece for a total of 12 hours. You'll complete those exams in Connect Learn Smart, just like all your other work. I prepare the exams to take 2 to 3 hours. However, I give you a 5-hour time limit to complete them, and that's to give you a cushion. But you should be prepared to commit to at least those 2 to 3 hours straight, because you may not save and go back. Once you start the exam, you must finish it in that one sitting. You have one attempt. You may not save and go back, so keep that in mind. If you think you're going to take longer than the 2 to 3 hours, make sure you commit the 5 hours. I would say there's no possible way you should need more than 4 or 5 hours. I prepared the exam thinking it'll take 2 to 3, or preparing it so it will take you 2 to 3. That's just a cushion. So just keep that in mind. You cannot save and go back, and if you are there and the 5-hour time limit passes, whatever you have completed to that point will be submitted. The exams include objective questions, much like what you study and learn from your quizzes, and problem solving that you've been doing all along through your weekly requirements, including your homework. So the exam is objective questions and problem solvings. They're available in Connect Learn Smart, and you'll see the weeks prior to each exam, I also post an exam review for you. So you can actually go through and take some, not quite a mock exam, because I won't include objective questions, but I will give you samples of the types of problems that you will be asked to solve on each exam. So the week prior to an exam, I will, besides having those requirements due for that chapter, I will also open in Connect Learn Smart an exam practice for you, an exam review for you, which has samples of what you'll have to perform on the exams. Okay, so that's all graded requirements. Now the discussion board, which again we went over in the class orientation video, it's not graded, but you might be taking at minimum a half hour a week just to take a look at what people have posted, post your own questions, see what everyone else has responded, and use that to actually be successful in the class. You can go ahead and create those. I showed you how to do all of this in Canvas already in the class orientation video. Anyone can create or respond to threads, and it's really meant to help take the place of the contact that we would normally have by meeting face-to-face each week. The discussion board is probably one of the better ways that we accomplish that. Remember from the class orientation video, the Introduce Yourself discussion board, oops, I missed that. It's not due by Wednesday, August 23rd. It is due by, let me go back to that quickly. My error for having that wrong date in the syllabus. It is actually, well, August 23rd would be an awful long time. You'd already be past due. Remember from going into Canvas, the Chapter 1 discussion is actually due by 11 p.m. Oops, that's Chapter 1. Let me go back to the orientation module, which is Chapter 0. The Chapter 0 discussion. Remember, you're going to be responding to those 4 prompts by 11 p.m. on Saturday, February 3rd. My bad on the syllabus. I just missed the date there. So it's Saturday, February 3rd is when the Introduce Yourself discussion board post is due. If it's not there, you will be dropped from the class because that's my way of telling me that you're attending. Remember to check Canvas announcements daily. Again, if you have your notifications set up properly in Canvas, as I showed you, you'll get those by email all the time, so you'll never miss them anyway as long as you check email. Email me anytime during the week for a response in less than 24 hours. Keep in mind regarding the discussion board that if you have anything regarding your grade that you have questions on, anything personal that you do not want the rest of your classmates to read about, those should be sent to me by email rather than posting to the discussion board. And I'll always be sending you or posting announcements, sending emails, posting to the discussion board as the instructor so that I can give you my pearls of wisdom each week and ideas and ways to be successful for that week. Alright, so that gets you through, that's probably the longest section of the syllabus, your weekly requirements for the class and how you're really working with me and your classmates to be successful. Regarding attendance, again, if you don't submit that Introduce Yourself discussion board post by Saturday, February 3rd at 11 p.m., you'll be dropped for the class. That's my initial attendance requirement. But as the weeks go on, if you miss any 1 week of class, meaning you haven't turned anything in a week, I may drop you. But the one thing I will always do is communicate with you first. You'll get an email from me that's going to ask you, basically what's up? Are you still participating? Do you want me to drop you from the class so you don't fail? Do you want to remain in the class and you're going to continue even though you've missed material, etc. But if I don't hear from you, if I don't hear back from you, if I don't hear from you for, greater than that 1 or 2 weeks at all, I will drop you from the class because that saves you from earning an F by the end of the semester. Instead, you would earn a W, which is way better from a grade point average standpoint than an F. So that's another reason to make sure you're checking your emails regularly and responding to me in a timely manner. That's critical. If I ask you to respond to me or send me something, please do it in a timely manner or by the deadlines I set, just so that I make sure that we're on the same page, we're communicating, and I know your intentions regarding the class. All right, you learned about what's required each week. Now here's how you will be graded each week. The 12 Learn Smart assignments are 10 points each for 120. Same thing with interactive presentations. Homework is worth 20 points per chapter for 260 points. The 12 quizzes for the 12 chapters are 120 points. And you might be saying, well, wait a minute. I thought there were 13 chapters. There are 13 chapters that we're going to cover in the course. More on that in a minute. So basically, there's 1,020 points available in the class. Each week you're earning points towards that 1,020. So as explained in the class orientation video, each week you'll be able to tell how you're doing by dividing the number of points you've earned so far in the class by the number of points that have been available so far in the class. So let's take week 1 for example. If you earn 10 points for LearnSmart, 10 points for interactive presentations, 20 points for homework, and all 10 points for quiz, that's 10, 20, 40, 50 points. You have 50 out of 50. At that point, you have 100% of the class number of points available. Week number 2, 3, 4, and so on. By the end of the semester, your total points divided by 1,020 will tell you your final letter grade. And again, each Sunday, I will post your grades to Canvas along with a message from me, so you'll always know your grades very quickly. Canvas is the official repository for your grades, although you can see your Connect LearnSmart grades in Connect LearnSmart. Really, it's Canvas that's the official repository. Every Sunday, because Saturday night's the deadline, I take time to go through all of your work, post your grades to Canvas. I will let you know they're posted and how to calculate your grade to date. In other words, based upon what you've completed against what has been due. At the end of the semester, I am very methodical about that. I will make sure that you have your grades by the close of every Sunday, usually way earlier than that. Here's the number of points that you need to earn for all of the different letter grades. In other words, if you've earned 984 to 1,020 points, that's an A+, because you've earned 97%, at least 97% of the points. And you can see the sliding points and percentages. We know nobody's going to get into that below 607, which is the F, because you haven't earned at least 60%. But again, that's just the number of points against 1,020 that will earn you those individual letter grades by the end of the semester. Below that, I just have an explanation of the grading requirements. Again, all weekly requirements are due by 11 p.m. each Saturday, beginning with the Chapter 0 requirements that are due by 11 p.m. on Saturday, February 3rd. Each week begins on Sunday morning at 12 a.m. You learn through the class orientation video that I always have 2 chapters open at a time. For those of you that get done early and you want to start a new chapter module early, you can always do that. They'll always be available 2 at a time. Again, the online grading requirements you access through Connect LearnSmart link in Canvas, as I showed you in Canvas, or again, you can go to the direct link. I always suggest that you log into Canvas and do it that way, because then you're logged in, you have the videos, you have my lecture notes PDFs, you have the video tutorials that are there, and you can toggle back and forth between Connect and Canvas. The grading requirements are grouped by chapter. Again, I already showed you that in the class orientation video, and then you'll just be clicking on each chapter for that week's requirements. Again, as I mentioned, anything that's graded in Connect LearnSmart, and when you have weeks with exams, those grades will be posted in Canvas, and those are your official grades for the course. By every Sunday evening, I will have your grades updated, usually early in the day, depending upon how the Sunday's going for me. All right, couple of other things regarding makeups. No makeups in the class. Please contact me by email immediately if you know you're going to have some kind of extenuating circumstance that will prevent you from completing any portion of your requirements for that week. I'll always get back to you within 24 hours, but if you email me after the deadline passes or sometime on Saturday that there's some issue or extenuating circumstance, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to work with you. After the deadline, there's really no way that I can work with you, so do it as soon as you know there's going to be an issue. Remember, well, you're already in the class, so the last day to add the class is February 9th. The last day to drop the class with no grade is also February 9th. So if you drop the class on or before February 9th, you will get no grade for the class, and you may apply for a refund, depending upon how late you do it. The last date to drop the class with a grade of W is April 27th. Remember what I said about I will drop you if you are a no-show, and I will drop you throughout the semester if I don't hear from you and you disappear on me, just so you don't get an F. That way before April 27th you get a W. But please let me know if you're going to drop or if you need advice throughout the semester, and if you're struggling in any way. That's what I'm here for. I'm here every week, all the time, working with you virtually. It's just that we're not sitting together for 4 hours a week. We're actually working virtually together for 4 hours a week. If you require accommodations, here's the section, Information on Accommodations. Please read through that. And if you have a verified accommodation, make sure you get that to me from the appropriate office so that I can make sure that I'm adhering to the accommodation that you have been awarded by any of these offices. And I'd be very happy to work with you and ensure that your accommodations are met. You learn that there is web tutoring in Canvas, but also supervised tutoring is available at the Tech Mall at Grossmont College if you happen to be available to go there in person. It's supervised tutoring. They are non-credit and non-fee, but you have to register to get tutoring. And we have some great accounting tutors. During the semester, I will post announcements that I get from the tutoring center to let you know when they're available and how you can access them. Please let me know if you need any additional information on supervised tutoring or how I can help you. Remember, we're working together every week throughout the semester, so please let me know how I can be of assistance to enhance your success in the class. All right, the next couple of pages, page 6 is the last page of content for the syllabus. Remember, page 7 is the Connect Learn Smart instructions for registration. But here's the weekly outline, what we're going to cover each week. Again, they're all in the modules in Canvas, so you don't necessarily have to refer to this weekly schedule. However, it is our agreement between one another. Chapter 0 is what I call the Welcome and Introduction to the Class. That module is due by 11 p.m. on Saturday, February 3rd. Remember, you learned in the class orientation video, the orientation to the class is for practice only, to familiarize yourself with Connect Learn Smart. Nothing you do counts for a grade. The only thing you're required to do that I will grade per se, to make sure you did it, is the Introduce Yourself discussion board post. That's due by Saturday, February 3rd as well, by 11 p.m. So you're reviewing the syllabus orientation video, the class orientation video, the orientation to Connect, and your Introduce Yourself discussion. And again, just going back to Canvas, that's what we mean by the Chapter 0 orientation to the class. And then, of course, if you finished early, you can move on to Chapter 1. All of that was explained in the class orientation video. And then you can see each week the start dates and end dates and when things are due. Our first exam comes up on the week of February 25th and is due by 11 p.m. on Saturday, March 3rd. On exam weeks, that's all that's due is the exam. But as I mentioned, for example, on the week of February 25th, yes, exam 1 will be due and required to be completed. The week prior, I will be posting an exam review for you. If you want to go through, that's optional. But also Chapter 4 module would be open that week, because remember, I have 2 modules open per week. An exam is a module, Chapter 4 is a module, for example. All right, and you can see as we move along, remember I said there's 13 chapters. Chapter 6 is going to be assigned for extra credit. I'm going to have extra credit related to Chapter 6 that you'll be required to do. It'll be assigned for extra credit with a due date. I'll set that due date when we get there. We have a ways to go to get to March 18th and the spring break. There's the spring break built in, the week of March 25th. And then you just progress through and you can see when the exams come up, what chapters we're covering each week, etc. Finally, the exam week for Grossmont College is May 27th through June 2nd. And that's when exam number 4 will be due. There's no cumulative final. The exam you take in the exam week, the week of May 27th, is just the 4th of 4 exams. that's on chapters 11, 12, and 13 at that time. All right, so there's your weekly schedule. And then again, logging into Canvas is the critical piece, and making sure you're logging in and methodically working through the modules each week. Each module represents a chapter. Building that into your weekly routine is essential. Don't procrastinate. If you're starting your work on Saturday, you are going to really struggle each week. You must make sure that you are progressing throughout the week. All right, all of your graded requirements again are done through Connect Learn Smart, which again, remember, I have every module. There's a link to Connect Learn Smart. I showed you how to register and then do the work in Connect Learn Smart each week. Again, where? I've said it many times, the class orientation video. And again, a little disclaimer, the syllabus and outline are subject to change by the instructor, but I can't really recall the last time I had to do that with any of my Grossmont classes, so what you see here is pretty much going to be it for the semester. But again, we're working together each week, so that's why you're paying attention to everything that's in Canvas, what you get for announcements from me, posts to the discussion board, and emails. Finally, the last page of the syllabus is just what I referred to in the class orientation video, and that's the registration instructions for Connect Learn Smart. I showed you how to do that in the class orientation video, so this page is just reiterates that, and I always include the registration instructions as the last page of my syllabus for each course. Okay, so I'm not going to go into any detail that here because we did it in the class orientation video. So I'm just going to scroll all the way back to the top. And as I do, I hope that you will take a look at the syllabus orientation video again if you need to in more detail. Print it and review the syllabus or look at it on your screen. View it in as much detail as you feel necessary, because it is the agreement between you and I'm certainly going to fulfill my end of the agreement with you, and I certainly know that you will too, as you enjoy mastering financial accounting and achieving your educational, personal, and professional goals, or for whatever the reason is that you've registered for the class. So now you can go ahead, log back into Canvas, get through that Chapter 0 orientation to the class module, and then when you're done with that, you're ambitious, go ahead and get started on the Chapter 1 Accounting in Business module. Please stay in touch with me. Watch your emails. Communicate with me as I explained in the class orientation video as we embark on this journey together for you mastering financial accounting. Thank you very much. Again, as I said previously, it's going to be great working with you this semester, and best wishes for much success. I'm certainly looking forward to it. Thank you.